Curry talks about LeBron and the future of the Lakers. Stay until the end to find out everything, but first leave your like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any important news about the Lakers. In the ever-shifting landscape of the NBA, few rivalries have captured the imagination of fans quite like that between Stephen Curry and LeBron James. It's a rivalry steeped in finals battles, MVP races, iconic moments, and unforgettable performances. But in recent months, a more reflective and respectful tone has emerged, particularly in Curry's recent comments about LeBron and the future of the Los Angeles Lakers. In an interview that quickly circulated across sports media, Curry spoke candidly about LeBron's continued dominance and how he views the Lakers' direction moving forward. "You can't ever count him out," Curry said when asked about LeBron's longevity. "No matter the roster or situation, he finds a way to impact the game at the highest level. That's greatness." This may sound like the kind of compliment players often give each other in the public eye, but coming from Curry, LeBron's fiercest competitor over the last decade, it carried a different weight. There's a history here, a mutual understanding forged in 4 consecutive NBA Finals matchups and countless regular season battles. That history gives Curry's words a special kind of credibility. Curry didn't stop at praising LeBron individually, he also touched on the Lakers as a franchise entering a pivotal transition. "They've got decisions to make," he said. "Young talent coming in, Bronny joining, coaching changes. But you know that when a franchise like that resets, they don't rebuild. They reload." This simple statement speaks volumes. Curry, a figure deeply associated with the Golden State Warriors' dynastic run, knows what it takes to sustain success. And in those words, he acknowledges that the Lakers, despite recent struggles, still carry the weight and resources to quickly return to title contention. Observers were quick to point out the deeper implications of Curry's comments. Was this a subtle acknowledgement of the Lakers' smart moves in the offseason? A respectful nod to LeBron's legacy as a leader even in the twilight of his career? Or perhaps a signal that Curry recognizes the chess game being played across the Western Conference, where the Lakers are once again positioning themselves as contenders? Regardless of the intent, one thing is clear. Curry's remarks were filled with a mix of respect, caution, and recognition. He understands that a healthy and focused LeBron, supported by the right pieces, remains one of the league's most dangerous forces. Interestingly, Curry also mentioned the unique challenge of preparing to face a team led by LeBron. "You can scout all you want, but with him it's about adapting in real time. He sees the game 3 plays ahead. You make one mistake and he's already turned it into a bucket." It's this kind of insight that reminds fans that behind the fierce competition lies a genuine appreciation for greatness. Curry and LeBron are 2 of the game's greatest minds, and despite the fire of their battles, there's no bitterness. Only legacy. As the 2025 NBA season unfolds, all eyes will be on both the Warriors and the Lakers. Will they meet again in the playoffs? Will Bronny make an immediate impact? Can LeBron defy time once more? And what about Curry? Can he lead another deep postseason run? Whatever the answers, the respect between these 2 titans adds a compelling layer to the narrative. And as we'll explore in the chapters ahead, this mutual admiration could very well define the final act of one of the NBA's most iconic rivalries. When Stephen Curry speaks, the basketball world listens. It's not just because of his legacy, 4-time NBA champion, 2-time MVP, and widely considered the greatest shooter in history, but because of the thoughtfulness and intentionality behind his words. So when Curry recently shared his thoughts on LeBron James and the future of the Los Angeles Lakers, the ripple effects were immediate and far-reaching. Major sports outlets pounced on the story. Headlines emerged across ESPN, Bleacher Report, The Athletic, and beyond. Curry on LeBron, "You can never count him out." Steph shows respect to Lakers roster moves. Warrior speaks on rival, sparks debate on West contenders. But beyond the headlines, the sports commentary community dove deeper. Analysts like J.J. Redick, Shannon Sharpe, and even Charles Barkley weighed in on the significance of Curry's statements, not just as basketball analysis, but as an indicator of how the power dynamic in the Western Conference might be evolving. Could Curry be subtly acknowledging a shift, or at least preparing for one? Social media platforms erupted as well. On Twitter, or X, fans from both the Warriors and Lakers camps debated the intent behind the comments. Was it genuine respect or strategic psychology? Some interpreted it as humility. Others saw it as a calculated message to the league. The Warriors respect the Lakers, but they aren't afraid of them. Meanwhile, Lakers fans took Curry's words as validation. After an off-season filled with speculation, new signings, and the drama surrounding Bronny James' entry into the league, Curry's recognition felt like a stamp of legitimacy from one of the game's all-time greats. Even Steph knows the Lakers are coming, one tweet read, garnering over 20,000 likes in a matter of hours. Curry's comments about reloading instead of rebuilding particularly struck a chord. In the age of instant reactions and sound bites, this one-liner was dissected across podcasts and YouTube shows. Some argued that he was pointing to the Lakers' tendency to make bold, aggressive moves, like their acquisition of Anthony Davis in 2019 or their pursuit of veteran leadership year after year. Others believed it was a subtle reminder that true dynasties, like the one Curry helped build in Golden State, don't rely solely on big names, but on chemistry and development. Interestingly, Curry's statement also drew responses from within the Lakers organization, albeit indirectly. During a recent press conference, new Lakers head coach J.J. Redick referenced the culture of respect surrounding LeBron and mentioned how even competitors like Steph know what LeBron represents. That acknowledgement reinforced the idea that Curry's words carried real weight, not just among fans but inside locker rooms. What makes Curry's perspective particularly compelling is that he occupies a unique space in the NBA. He's a peer to LeBron but not a follower. He's competed against him on the league's biggest stage multiple times, and has come out on top more often than not. When Curry speaks highly of LeBron and the Lakers, it's not out of obligation or PR necessity. It's born from lived experience and hard-earned respect. And let's not forget, Curry is also a brand. His comments don't exist in a vacuum. They affect narratives, shape media angles, and even shift betting lines. Odds makers took note after Curry's interview, subtly adjusting the Lakers' championship odds upward. That's the kind of power that only a handful of athletes wield. In an NBA increasingly dominated by drama and hot takes, Curry's grounded, thoughtful voice is a rarity. He doesn't stir controversy for attention. Instead, his influence comes from authenticity. That's why his take on LeBron and the Lakers resonated so deeply. It wasn't just what he said, but who he is and what he's accomplished that gave it weight. As this saga unfolds, one thing is certain. Curry's voice is not just an echo, it's a bell that rings across the league, signaling shifts in respect, competition, and perhaps destiny. In the chapters to come, we'll explore more of the evolving landscape, what the Lakers are building, how Bronny factors in, and whether another epic playoff clash between LeBron and Steph is already being written in the stars. When the Los Angeles Lakers selected Bronny James in the 2024 NBA Draft, it marked more than just the arrival of a promising young player. It signaled the beginning of a new chapter in one of the most storied careers the league has ever seen. For the first time in NBA history, a father and son would play together on the same team, and not just any duo, LeBron and Bronny James. The move instantly captivated the sports world and sent shockwaves across the league. But perhaps one of the most unexpected responses came from Stephen Curry. When asked about Bronny's entrance into the NBA and what it meant for the league, and for LeBron, Curry didn't hesitate. "That's something you have to respect on a human level first," he said. "The dream of playing with your son in the NBA? That's not just a storyline, that's legacy. That's real." Curry's words stood out because of the depth behind them. While the NBA is no stranger to hype, Curry has always separated himself by focusing on the fundamentals: character, family, legacy, and love for the game. His acknowledgement of Bronny's debut wasn't just about basketball, it was about what the moment represented for LeBron, the Lakers, and the sport as a whole. But Curry also offered a subtle note of caution. "Bronny has his own path to walk," he continued. "It's going to be a lot of pressure, a lot of eyes, but he's got one of the greatest ever in his corner. That'll help, but the journey is his." This insight resonated deeply. Curry, a player who also grew up in the shadow of an NBA father, Del Curry, understands the weight of expectations. Although his ascent to superstardom is now viewed as inevitable, his early years were marked by questions about his size, durability, and whether his game could translate to the next level. In many ways, he sees echoes of that in Bronny's current position. The arrival of Bronny James also adds a fascinating twist to the Curry-LeBron dynamic. What was once a fierce rivalry, fueled by finals clashes and MVP debates, is now softening into something more nuanced, a mutual respect built on longevity, leadership, and fatherhood. In a recent interview, Curry even smiled when talking about the prospect of facing both LeBron and Bronny in the same game. "Man, if I end up guarding Bronny while LeBron's on the court, that's when you know the league's been around long enough." It was a light-hearted moment, but it hinted at something deeper. Curry, now in the latter part of his career, is witnessing a full generational shift in real time. And instead of resisting it, he seems to be embracing it, perhaps because he understands that greatness isn't just about wins and stats, but about building a lasting story. For the Lakers, Bronny's presence is both symbolic and strategic. While he may not be an immediate star, his development alongside his father could ignite a cultural renaissance in Los Angeles, one where mentorship, legacy, and continuity become as valuable as all-star appearances. And having players like Curry speak positively about Bronny only helps solidify that vision in the public's eye. The media has seized upon this new angle, turning the rivalry into a generational drama. Steph and LeBron, titans of the past decade, now mentoring and guiding the future, whether directly or through the weight of their words. The Curry-LeBron rivalry isn't fading, it's evolving. In the past, matchups between the Lakers and Warriors were electric because of what was at stake: titles, pride, dominance. Now, those same games are layered with new meaning, nostalgia, legacy, transition. Fans are no longer just watching battles between two of the greatest players of all time, they're witnessing history being handed down moment by moment. Bronny James may just be starting his career, but the spotlight is already intense. Fortunately, he has the support of a father who's been through it all, and surprisingly, the quiet encouragement of one of his father's greatest rivals. That small gesture from Curry, acknowledging Bronny's humanity and potential, is a reminder that in the NBA, respect often outlasts competition. In the next chapter, we'll take a closer look at the internal transformations happening within the Lakers organization, and how Curry's observations hint at the team's renewed ambitions to chase another championship, even with time running short for LeBron. The Los Angeles Lakers have never been a franchise content with mediocrity. With a legacy built on stars, championships, and high-stakes drama, they rarely tolerate long rebuilds. After a disappointing finish in the 2024 postseason and increasing questions about LeBron James' remaining years in the league, the Lakers knew a change was necessary, not just in personnel but in philosophy. And from the outside looking in, Stephen Curry has been watching closely. When asked recently about the changes in Los Angeles, Curry gave an honest but respectful take. "They're making bold moves, but you can tell there's a vision behind it now. It's not just trying to stack names, it's about building something cohesive, something that can last." That sentiment reflected what many insiders and analysts had been saying quietly for months, that the Lakers were beginning to pivot away from their recent super team or bust strategy and toward a more sustainable model. Leading that shift is newly hired head coach J.J. Redick, a former sharpshooter and well-respected basketball mind with deep media ties and a strong understanding of modern offensive philosophy. Redick's appointment raised eyebrows at first. A coach with zero prior NBA or college head coaching experience taking over one of the league's most scrutinized franchises. It felt risky. But to players like Curry, who share Redick's appreciation for IQ-driven basketball, it made sense. "JJ's a smart dude," Curry said in a podcast appearance. "He understands the game from a player's perspective, but also from the tactical side. He's played in systems that prioritize spacing and ball movement, that can unlock a lot for their roster." Curry's analysis highlighted what Redick brings to the table: clarity. The Lakers' offense in recent years had become stagnant, too dependent on isolations from LeBron or Anthony Davis, and often devoid of consistent outside shooting. Redick's expected emphasis on pace, movement, and perimeter efficiency could be the tactical refresh the team needs. But beyond X's and O's, the Lakers are also betting on youth. In addition to Bronny James, they've brought in other high-upside young players, both through the draft and savvy offseason acquisitions. Curry recognized the shift. They're investing in player development again, he noted. You can't win long-term without that foundation. Everyone wants the splashy headline, but championships are built with the guys no one's talking about in October. This comment carries extra weight coming from Curry. After all, the Warriors dynasty wasn't built solely on stars. It was built on system players like Andre Iguodala, Kevin Looney, and Jordan Poole during his rise, all nurtured internally. His point was clear. Superstars win games, but structure wins eras. Curry also acknowledged the challenge Redick would face in managing the balance between youth and veterans, particularly with LeBron still commanding the floor. That dynamic is tricky, he said. But if anyone can earn the respect of a locker room full of future Hall of Famers and young guys hungry to prove themselves, it's someone who's been in both shoes. JJ's walked that line. As fans and media debate whether the Lakers are reloading or rebuilding, Curry's perspective offers clarity. It's both. The franchise isn't tearing everything down, nor is it simply buying its way out of trouble. It's evolving. Slowly, strategically. And perhaps that's what Curry admires most about the new direction, because he's seen both sides. He's been on teams that relied too much on star power, and on teams that gelled through chemistry, structure, and culture. He knows what works. You don't always need a blockbuster to get better, he said. Sometimes the real progress is invisible until it clicks in the playoffs. The Lakers might be setting that up right now. Indeed, if Redick can unlock the potential of LA's younger core while giving LeBron and Davis the strategic support they need to stay fresh and effective, the Lakers could surprise doubters in 2025. For Curry, that means the Western Conference just got a little more complicated. For fans, it means the stage is set for yet another chapter in the ever-evolving rivalry between Golden State and Los Angeles. One that's no longer just about two stars clashing at the top, but about two philosophies of team building vying for supremacy. In the next chapter, we'll explore how the Warriors themselves are changing, how Curry views his own team's evolution, and what that means for a potential final run at glory against the very Lakers he now so carefully analyzes. As the NBA hurtles toward a new generation of talent and team dynamics, two of its most iconic franchises, Golden State and Los Angeles, find themselves standing at very different crossroads. One is trying to evolve into the future, the other is trying to squeeze the last drops of greatness from the present. For Stephen Curry, the face of the Golden State Warriors, this moment carries an unusual weight. The league is changing and so is he. When asked recently about the Warriors' current state, Curry didn't sugarcoat it. We're not the same team we were in 2015 or 2017. That's the nature of time. But the belief is still there, we've still got pieces and we've still got pride. It was a rare glimpse of vulnerability from the usually upbeat and optimistic Curry. With the departure of Klay Thompson in 2024, and Draymond Green battling injuries and suspensions, the once unshakable core that defined a dynasty has begun to show cracks. The Warriors' offense still revolves around Curry's gravity, but the supporting cast has become inconsistent. The system remains elegant, but the execution is harder than ever. In contrast, the Lakers, after years of front office turmoil and disappointing exits, have started to look surprisingly structured. With JJ Redick taking over as head coach, Bronny James joining the roster, and LeBron recommitting for what might be his final 2 seasons, the Lakers are laying bricks for something new, possibly even sustainable. That contrast isn't lost on Curry. It's funny, he said with a small laugh in a recent podcast. We were the young ones chasing the veteran squads and now, all of a sudden, we're the ones trying to hold the line while everyone else reloads. The tone was reflective but not defeatist. Curry knows his window is narrowing, but he also knows what it takes to make the most of it. Few athletes have aged as gracefully as he has. His shooting hasn't declined, his off-ball movement remains lethal, and his leadership, once questioned early in his career, is now widely respected even by his fiercest rivals. Still, questions remain. Can the Warriors give him enough? Can young players like Jonathan Kuminga or Moses Moody take the leap? Will new additions mesh with the motion-heavy offense? Can Steve Kerr adapt the system for a league that's faster, younger, and more physically imposing? And then there's the emotional element. Curry has always defined his legacy in part by his rivalry with LeBron James. 4 finals battles. Dozens of primetime showdowns. Countless debates. With both men nearing the twilight of their careers, there's a growing sense that one last chapter may remain unwritten. A final playoff clash that will either close the book or keep the argument alive forever. We've been part of each other's storylines for so long, Curry said. It almost wouldn't feel right to finish without one more battle. This isn't just nostalgia talking. It's recognition of a truth that fans, analysts, and players all feel. Curry and LeBron have shaped an era. They've defined the 2010s and carried their relevance into the 2020s. As their teams evolve in opposite directions, the possibility of one last face-off becomes more tantalizing. While the Lakers lean into youth and future potential, the Warriors must live in the now. They can't afford to wait 3 years for talent to mature. Not if they want to give Curry one more legitimate shot at a title. That urgency creates pressure, but also clarity. I don't want to look back and wonder if we played it safe, Curry said. I want to go out swinging. Those words, delivered calmly but with conviction, tell you everything you need to know about where Curry stands. He knows the odds may no longer be in his favor. He knows that every season now could be his last in true contention. But he's not chasing rings to prove anything. He's chasing moments. Those signature Curry bursts, those Game 6 comebacks, those crowd-silencing threes that defined a generation. And if those moments come against the Lakers? Even better. As both teams march into the 2025 season, the spotlight will follow. The Lakers are plotting their future. The Warriors are fighting to preserve their legacy. And in the middle of it all stands Curry, one eye on the clock, the other on LeBron, and both feet planted firmly in the present. Next, in Chapter 6, we'll explore the cultural impact of Curry and LeBron's rivalry, not just on basketball but on how players communicate, lead, and inspire in a modern NBA that is more visible, vocal, and global than ever. The NBA has always been home to legendary rivalries. Magic versus Bird, Jordan versus Isaiah, Kobe versus Duncan. But few have transcended the game quite like Stephen Curry versus LeBron James. For nearly 2 decades, these two icons have shaped not only the outcomes of entire seasons but also how the league is perceived, played, and even understood beyond the court. Since their first finals meeting in 2015, the rivalry between LeBron and Curry took on almost mythic proportions. The best player of his generation versus the symbol of the three-point revolution. The overwhelming physical force against the technical skill and fluidity. The classic hero against the unlikely prodigy. Yet perhaps the most fascinating part over the years has been how, instead of destroying each other, they lifted each other up, influencing an entire generation in the process. Curry recently spoke candidly about this. Part of what made the rivalry so intense was respect. I knew if I wasn't at my best, LeBron was going to run over me. And I believe he felt the same way. That mutual respect allowed their matchups, between Warriors and Cavaliers and later Lakers, to be more than sports battles. They became living narratives. Lessons in leadership, perseverance, and evolution. While LeBron has always been the league's gravitational center, Curry was the silent revolutionary. He never needed to be the tallest or strongest. He changed the game with finesse, creativity, and consistency. In doing so, he showed young players worldwide there was another path to greatness. Before Steph, I thought I had to dunk it to be respected, said Trae Young once. After him, I realized shooting could be the game's most powerful weapon. That mindset shift became cultural. Today, young players enter the NBA with greater tactical awareness, creative freedom, and a stronger sense of identity, and that influence comes directly from Curry's example. But it also passes through LeBron's impact, who redefined the athlete's role off the court as a leader and public figure. If Curry shaped the game, LeBron shaped the off-court narrative, social leadership, freedom of expression, empowerment. In this way their careers intertwined. Both became symbols, not just for skill but for how to conduct one's career with purpose. This impact is everywhere. On social media, players communicate directly with fans. something LeBron popularized with authenticity. On the court, 6-foot three-point guards now dictate the game's pace and shatter three-point records, a direct legacy of Curry. In career decisions, more athletes control their destinies, emulating the autonomy LeBron championed. When it comes to inspiring others, neither falls short. When Curry talks discipline and faith, young players listen. When LeBron builds schools and speaks on politics, his influence echoes globally. Together, they showed that the modern player can be more than stats. They can be symbols, influences, causes. They changed what it means to be a leader, said Draymond Green once. LeBron paved the way off the court. Steph showed you can lead without shouting. The new generation, players like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Anthony Edwards, Tyrese Halliburton, grew up watching these two face off. What they saw wasn't just rivalry. They saw respect, growth, longevity. Now, as LeBron approaches the twilight of his career and Curry feels the clock ticking, the rivalry has fulfilled its role. But their cultural legacy is only just beginning. The NBA we see today, more technical, versatile, conscious, is the direct product of this era. And maybe there's still time for one more chapter on the court. But even if they never meet again in a finals or crucial game, LeBron and Curry have done what greats do, shaped the game in their image, and left the league better than they found it. Every era in sports eventually comes to a close. Dynasties rise and fall, legends pass the torch, and the game evolves in ways no one can fully predict. But few eras in NBA history have carried the weight, drama, and cultural significance of the one defined by Stephen Curry and LeBron James. As both players enter the twilight of their careers, there's a bittersweet sense of finality. The thrilling playoff battles, iconic moments, and intense rivalry that defined the last decade have shaped the modern NBA like nothing else. But beyond the highlights and headlines, what truly remains is their legacy. For Curry, it's a story of transformation. From an underestimated shooter with a small frame to arguably the greatest shooter the game has ever seen, he revolutionized how basketball is played. His influence is everywhere, on playgrounds, in gyms, and in the strategies coaches deploy worldwide. He proved that skill, creativity, and relentless work ethic could rewrite the rules. LeBron's journey, on the other hand, is one of leadership and empowerment. A once-teen phenom burdened with expectations, he grew into a figure who redefined what it means to be an athlete in the 21st century. His impact transcends basketball. He's a philanthropist, an activist, and a mentor, using his platform to change lives. Together, they forged a rivalry that was less about destruction and more about elevation. Each pushed the other to be better, to adapt, to grow. And in doing so, they helped bring the NBA into a new era of global relevance, technical brilliance, and social awareness. As the spotlight slowly shifts to new stars, the lessons left by Curry and LeBron remain guiding lights. Their work ethic, their humility, their respect for the game and for each other, set standards that young players aspire to. Looking ahead, the NBA stands on the shoulders of giants. The league is faster, smarter, and more connected than ever, thanks in no small part to what Curry and LeBron brought to the court and the world beyond it. And while the next generation prepares to write its own stories, the chapters written by these two legends will never be forgotten. The rivalry, the moments, the legacy, they have become part of basketball's DNA. For fans, it's been a privilege to witness. For the game, a priceless gift. And for Curry and LeBron, a shared journey that defined a generation and changed the game forever. The era may be ending, but the legacy? That's just the beginning. As Stephen Curry and LeBron James approach the final chapters of their storied careers, the NBA stands at a pivotal crossroads. The league they shaped, through their rivalry, skill, and leadership, is evolving faster than ever, propelled by a wave of young stars ready to carve their own paths. But what will the NBA look like when these two legends are no longer on the court? And how will their legacy influence the players stepping up to fill the void? The answer lies not just in statistics or highlight reels but in the cultural shifts they sparked. Curry's revolutionary shooting style has permanently altered offensive strategies, making deep threes and spacing fundamental to modern basketball. Young guards now enter the league with a pre-installed mindset: shoot first, create relentlessly, and never shy away from difficult shots. Meanwhile, LeBron's approach to leadership and player empowerment has transformed athlete agency. From early contract moves to his social activism, LeBron expanded what it means to be a professional athlete in today's world. His path paved the way for players to take control over their careers and use their platforms beyond sports. Among the rising stars are players like Luka Doncic, Ja Morant, Zion Williamson, and Jalen Green, each bringing unique skills but all influenced by the blueprints left by Curry and LeBron. They play with more freedom, more voice, and more confidence than any generation before. Coaches, too, have adapted. The fast pace, positionless basketball, and emphasis on three-point shooting that Curry popularized have become staples across teams, shaping training, scouting, and game plans. Defensive schemes are evolving to meet the challenge of quicker, more versatile offenses. Yet, with this evolution comes new challenges. The pressure on young stars to fill monumental shoes is immense. The media scrutiny, the expectations, and the comparisons to Curry and LeBron create a weight few have shouldered. Still, the lessons passed down offer hope. Both Curry and LeBron exemplify resilience, adaptability, and humility. Their careers show that greatness is not just about talent, but about constant growth and character. As the league's landscape shifts, fans and analysts wonder, who will define this next era? Will one player rise to dominate, or will a new wave of stars share the spotlight? Perhaps the future won't need a single defining rivalry. Maybe it will be shaped by collaboration, innovation, and a broader array of voices, thanks to the foundation Curry and LeBron laid. In the end, the NBA's story continues, dynamic, unpredictable, and endlessly thrilling. The torch is ready to be passed, and the next chapters promise to be as compelling as the last. Stephen Curry and LeBron James have not only dominated the hardwood but have become global ambassadors for the NBA, transforming it into a worldwide cultural phenomenon. Their impact extends far beyond basketball, shaping how the league is perceived across continents and inspiring millions around the globe. Curry's style of play, marked by deep threes, dazzling handles, and a joyful approach, has resonated with fans in Asia, Europe, Africa, and beyond. Young players in countries with little basketball tradition have watched his highlights and tried to emulate his shooting mechanics and fearless mindset. His approachable personality and humility have made him a beloved figure internationally. LeBron, meanwhile, has become a symbol of empowerment and social responsibility. His off-court initiatives, including building schools, supporting voter rights, and speaking out on social justice issues, have elevated the role of the athlete to that of a global leader. His influence is felt not just in America but in communities worldwide where sports intersect with culture and activism. Together, they have helped the NBA expand its reach, fueling the league's growth in viewership, merchandising, and grassroots programs. NBA games are now broadcast in over 200 countries, and millions tune in to watch, inspired by the narratives Curry and LeBron have helped write. This global footprint is changing the very fabric of the league. Teams scout talent worldwide, players bring diverse backgrounds and styles, and the NBA evolves into a melting pot of cultures and ideas. The influence of Curry and LeBron paved the way for this internationalization. But with great influence comes great responsibility. As the NBA grows, so do expectations for players to use their platforms wisely. Curry and LeBron's example sets a high bar for future generations, to be athletes, role models, and leaders. The league's future stars understand this legacy. Many are fluent in social media, speak multiple languages, and engage in activism. They see their role as part of a larger cultural movement, not just as athletes chasing statistics. Looking ahead, the NBA's global impact will only deepen. New markets will emerge, technologies will enhance fan engagement, and the league's social consciousness will continue to grow, all under the shadow of the standards set by Curry and LeBron. In the end, their careers represent more than just basketball greatness. They embody the power of sport to connect, inspire, and transform societies worldwide. As the NBA enters its next chapter, the legacy of Curry and LeBron will serve as a guiding light, proof that the game is bigger than the court, and that true greatness transcends borders. Stephen Curry and LeBron James didn't just dominate the NBA, they rewrote the very playbook of basketball. Their unique skill sets and approaches pushed coaches, players, and entire teams to rethink how the game is played, leading to one of the most profound tactical evolutions in basketball history. Curry's impact is clear. The three-point shot went from a niche weapon to the centerpiece of modern offense. His unparalleled shooting range forced defenses to stretch further than ever before, creating more space on the floor. Teams had to adapt by prioritizing shooters, emphasizing pace, and fostering positionless basketball where traditional roles blurred. LeBron's influence was equally seismic but different. As a versatile playmaker with the size and strength to play multiple positions, he embodied a new kind of all-around player. His court vision and basketball IQ allowed him to orchestrate offenses and elevate teammates. LeBron blurred the lines between positions, inspiring a generation of multi-skilled athletes who can do it all. Together, Curry and LeBron accelerated a shift away from isolation-heavy, post-centric basketball toward dynamic, team-oriented, and pace-driven play. The NBA now emphasizes spacing, ball movement, switching defenses, and versatile lineups. Analytics embraced the three-point shot's efficiency, a strategy Curry personified. Coaches adapted accordingly. Defensive schemes became more flexible, with an emphasis on switching and guarding multiple positions. Offensive systems focus on creating open shots, driving lanes, and quick decision-making, all hallmarks of Curry's and LeBron's style. This tactical shift isn't confined to the NBA. College, international, and even youth basketball have adopted elements of this evolution. The ripple effect reaches all levels, encouraging skill development in shooting, passing, and versatility over traditional positional archetypes. Looking forward, the game is poised for further innovation. Emerging stars inspired by Curry and LeBron blend shooting, athleticism, and playmaking in new ways. Advances in sports science, analytics, and technology will continue to refine strategies. But the core lesson remains: the game rewards creativity, adaptability, and intelligence. Curry and LeBron showed that greatness isn't static, it evolves. As basketball continues to change, their tactical legacy will endure, shaping how the game is played for decades to come. Beyond tactics and skills, Stephen Curry and LeBron James have profoundly reshaped the mindset and culture of the NBA player. Their careers have inspired a shift in how athletes approach the game, leadership, and life outside basketball. Curry's journey from an overlooked prospect to a global icon embodies perseverance, humility, and joy. His style encourages players to embrace creativity, play with confidence, and stay true to their identity. Curry's off-court demeanor, grounded in faith, family, and community, sets a standard for balance and purpose that resonates deeply. LeBron's influence adds another layer: the empowerment of athletes as leaders and activists. His willingness to use his platform for social change, his entrepreneurial ventures, and his mentorship of younger players have expanded what it means to be a professional athlete. LeBron exemplifies the modern athlete as a multidimensional figure, transcending sport. Together they have challenged outdated norms. Where once athletes were expected to be quiet and obedient, today's players are encouraged to speak out, lead movements, and shape their brands. The player empowerment era, accelerated by LeBron, has made athletes active stakeholders in their careers and communities. This mindset shift reflects in team dynamics as well. Leadership is more collaborative and inclusive, blending veteran wisdom with fresh perspectives. Young players grow up seeing role models who prioritize mental health, social responsibility, and continuous growth. Moreover, the culture of training and preparation has evolved. Inspired by Curry's legendary work ethic and LeBron's commitment to physical and mental wellness, players invest more in holistic development, nutrition, mindfulness, and recovery. The result is longer, healthier careers and higher performance standards. The ripple effect reaches beyond the NBA. Across leagues worldwide, players adopt this evolved mindset, prioritizing authenticity, leadership, and social impact alongside athletic excellence. As new stars rise, they inherit not just a playbook but a cultural blueprint. Their urge to innovate, lead, and connect with fans on a human level, values Curry and LeBron have championed throughout their careers. In a world increasingly shaped by social media and global connectivity, This evolved player culture ensures the NBA remains vibrant, relevant, and inspiring. The legacies of Curry and LeBron, then, are not only in records or championships but in this profound transformation of player identity, a lasting gift to basketball's future. As the chapters of Stephen Curry and LeBron James' careers near their final pages, the true measure of their greatness extends far beyond statistics and trophies. Their legacy is carved not only in record books but in the hearts of fans, the culture of the NBA, and the very soul of basketball. Both men arrived with different stories. Curry, the underestimated sharpshooter who redefined the art of shooting. LeBron, the prodigy who carried immense expectations and redefined leadership on and off the court. Together, they elevated the sport and each other in ways few rivalries ever have. Their impact transcends the court, changing how players train, how teams strategize, and how athletes see their roles in society. They showed the world that basketball is more than a game. It is a platform for creativity, expression, and social change. Inspiring millions globally, Curry's joyful resilience and LeBron's powerful voice have given new meaning to what it means to be an athlete today. They bridged generations, united fans, and ignited conversations far beyond sports. As they prepare to pass the torch, they do so with humility, knowing that the NBA's future shines bright with a new generation standing on their shoulders. Their influence can be seen in every confident three-point shot, every bold act of leadership, and every player who dares to dream bigger. This era, defined by two icons who respected and pushed each other to greatness, will forever remain a golden chapter in basketball history. Their stories will inspire not only players but anyone who believes in the power of perseverance, passion, and purpose. The legacy of Curry and LeBron is a beacon, illuminating the path for the future, reminding us all that greatness is built on more than talent. It is built on heart, vision, and the courage to change the game. And so, as the final buzzer sounds on this extraordinary era, one truth remains clear: the game and the world of sports will never be the same.